Roller Champions is a team game at its core, which means that even the most mechanically gifted trick-shotting solo players are going to run into problems when they don't understand the best ways to work with other players. So if you're confident you've mastered your movement and you never miss your shots but you're still not rolling away with that win, my name is Riley Rocks and it's time to help you learn how to be the best teammate you can be. And that begins and ends with communication and callouts. Calling out your position is simultaneously the most basic and advanced form of communication, because while the amount of callouts you can use for your position is limited, the frequency and accuracy in which you use them is important to keep up with the pace of the game. The tried and true callout that's become a universal standard is using the 4 lines in the arena that mark your lap progress. Saying that you're at 3, for example, is a simple way to let your team know exactly where you are, and it's especially helpful when you'd like to take over and help direct your team to different positions. Additionally, you'll find that staying close to the net is quite a common place to be in both your offensive and defensive strategies, so saying "I'm at net" is more specific than one of the lines, and it can prevent your team from overcommitting. And last but certainly not least, updating your team when you're actively shadowing or challenging a player will allow them to observe the enemy team and in turn gather exactly where you are in relation to them. So now that your team can actually keep tabs on each other, you'll need to pass to get that ball around the rink. While that might be tough when you have someone trying to ball hog, as a player you'll still want to make an effort to be vocal and push for more passing opportunities. Now, of course, there's more than one way to pass, so the difficulty in communicating can increase by simply choosing to throw the ball manually because you'll need to coordinate the placement and timing. But for the most part, that'll come down to individual mechanics, because outside of that, saying that you need to get rid of the ball or letting your team know that you're open to receive a pass is a simple call out, and that should become second nature to you. Adapting to every match is a valuable skill to have as an individual, but in Roller Champions, it's often much harder to adapt to a play if your team isn't working with you and vice versa. But just as it does with everything else, communication can solve that issue entirely, so long as you put in the effort to bounce different ideas around. Suggestions and questions, like if your team would rather fake, pass, stall time, or just run the ball for another lap, will help you make a quick choice and change direction. And doing so can be important if the initial game plan didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to. The enemy team will always have their own approach to the game, so observing their movements and pointing them out and breaking them down can help you find a workaround. While it might not seem obvious or even important at first, your team's mentality will feel directly tied to the challenges you face as you rise in the ranks. So when handling those obstacles, keeping your head up and your hopes high and communicating that with your team can be what helps you focus and perform at your best. Now, this doesn't mean you start every match with a motivational speech, but it's pretty incredible how a metaphorical pat on the back and reassuring words can boost your team's morale even when you're faced with a difficult opponent. Now, of course, how you do this is entirely up to you and how your team likes to operate, but I can't stress enough how important it can be to keep spirits high. All in all, most players will find that with every team and every match comes a different experience. The words you use or the way you communicate ideas with each other can change, but as long as you're working together and making an effort to be vocal in whatever way you can, you'll already be miles ahead of your competition. So solo queue or not, strap on those skates and hop into a game, because your rank isn't going to go up on its own and someone out there is looking for a third. Again, my name is Riley Rocks, and I'll see you in the rink.